When we're speaking about games, I think Twitter is not the best platform about it. But sometimes you can find really hidden gems there, because a lot of people talk about the really cool games that are not being really recognized a lot, and today's game is one of those ones. I'm speaking about the next Metroidvania gem game. It is called by the name of Rusted Moose. So what is this game about and why it really catches a lot of attention from people, actually on Steam too, which is not exactly the true when I say a hidden gem, because a lot of people actually already play this game on Steam for example, and a lot of people give it good reviews. So why is it and what is so cool about this new Metroidvania game? Let's talk in this video, but before we do that I would like to check with you if you're a subscriber of this channel, because it really helps me to create more and more crazier and better videos about games. So if you're one of the subscribers, you know that our typical kind of like situation where you need just to press the like button and drop in the comments if you play this game, what do you think about it? Let's share all of our opinions. And let's begin the video. So Metroidvania genre is actually really very popular right now, with a lot of indie titles exploring its possibilities. One example, like I said, is the Rusted Moose, which adds a grappling hook to the exploration and includes the high quality of life features, allowing players to adjust the game's difficulty, which is really quite an interesting thing. Because in this type of games you always have to speak about the gameplay and mechanics, something that makes them better than others. And especially in this type of games, it's always fun to see what's new in the new game. The game tells the story of a challenging by the name of Fern, who is living after the life of among humans for years, decides at the end of an age of a man by destroying their facilities. According to the Fails, this part of a natural cycle where the world history moves between eras when humanity rules and when the Fire Folk are the magicians take over. However, the fairy tale queen Tatiana has been cut into multiple pieces, some of them are which are the poisons of the humans, known as witches. Fern must search for these parts as she explored the various areas with the Puck, a shady eyeball that rescued from human labs who became her companion in this journey. Rusted Moose presents an interesting take on a post-apocalyptic setting, wherein the magic is becoming more common while advanced technologies is in the decadence. However, the plot mostly throws the player around, as even the story description comes from the details learned from finishing a significant portion of journey, rather than something that player sees in action. And this is actually a very interesting part, that if you're not that much into the storyline and you want to just explore and have fun in the game, you can do that. It's actually not a big deal, but here is my tip for you. When you're gonna play this game, I really recommend you, without spoiling anything really deep in here, that you need to get into what's really going on here and why did things develop in such way, because then the game becomes really much more interesting. As the Metroidvania, Rusted Moose features an interconnected map that players can explore in detail. Many puzzles revolve around treasuring with the maps, which feature spikes, precipitals, and areas that are really hard to reach unless the players are master of certain techniques. The most important and traversal tool that players can really master is the grappling hook, which really adds something cool to this genre. I really have to say that I was stunned by how well the grappling hook made in this game. It allows Fern to stay attached to the fairly moves with a vegetarian speed of around the levels. By balancing from the other side to another, the player can gain momentum and move to the next point, which is really fun. You feel like a Spider-Man into the dimension. Well, there is already games like that, but never mind, it's the first Metroidvania game like that. One limitation is that as far as basic rules go, the players cannot use them consecutively, so it's wisely avoid to putting Fern in the composition position where that may lead to her death. Players must also understand the unique traversal feature that of each area. For example, there is a place where the wind carries Fern around, affecting all kinds of movements, such as grappling hook also, which is really very cool feature also that you need to understand everything. In another area, for example, Fern can fly, but players must deal with the beams, forcing her towards the deadly precipitals. Some areas must have to go players should pass through as soon as possible, like for example exposure is lethal, or liquid that demand the player to look for breathing, respirations, or something like that. Boss battles in Rusted Moose also require a learning process, as the platform positioning demands clever, precise usage of tools players have. In addition, bosses' attack patterns cover broad areas, making them somewhere of hard to avoid, I would say. especially for the players that are unused to an action games. Without really a doubt, this is a great feature, and Rusted Moves offers really difficulty kind of detailed settings for different players who may be interested in the game, for example. There is also three options before starting the game: normal, flexible, and the speedrun, which is actually quite interesting, and I'm not gonna talk a lot about it in this review. Normal is an intended difficulty, while speedrun assists the players with the aim to clear the game as quickly as possible. So it is add a really interesting part. The flexible option is actually a very interesting one. It has accessibility menu to the game where allowing players to pick some add-ons that can significantly impact the difficulty. For instance, the players can enable an adaptive difficulty mode which helps the game to make easier whenever the friend dies. For example, if you're struggling, the game will adjust the settings so it will be easier for you to go through. Players can turn it on and turn it off, or even pick up differently the best choices for the experience with the custom adaptive settings. The game speed option allows players to slow down the game up to half of unusual speed. If there is an extra time to react to the enemy's attacks patterns. There is also an aim assist that facilitates hitting enemies. All these options may be useful for some players, but also can be the game fun and feel less challenging or rewarding. But once again, it is up to you. If you feel like you're not getting challenged enough, well, you can always make it harder for yourself, thinking of in a different ways how to play this game. In competitive gaming, aim assist is always a big problem, and it feels like an unfair advantage, but come on, we're speaking about a different type of game here. Another consideration in the gaming that the use of cheat codes, and you can find it also here. Yes, I'm not gonna speak a lot. You can have also mods in here, for example for multiplayer, like something like that. Overall, the use of assists really very hard and can be something different. To sum it up, for overall view, is Rusted Moose a very unique game? Yes, I would say a very one, because it's a very cool Metroidvania game that I would suggest everyone to pick up. It's a new game, it has a really very well playable mechanics. Grappling hook is the biggest thing you could find in the gaming in this genre right now. The graphics are cool, the game has very nice visuals overall, and the sound design is very well made too. So what rank would this game get into Metroidvania rank? I feel like this is a top 5 game we have received in this genre this year. 100% try to get this game either now or maybe later to snipe it on the discounts, but believe me, you're gonna enjoy it. Thank you for